Patch 14.9 is out now. Here's a tier list for it. Let's start with top lane. Olaf got nerf. Q damage reduced by 5 at all levels. Q monster modifier increased by 5 to 25. R passive resist decreased from 10 scales to 30 to 10 scales to 20. C tier. Skarner got nerf. Mana regen growth increased from 0.6 to 0.75. Q damage decreased from 10 scales to 70 to 10 scales to 50. W slow changed from 20 scales to 40% to 20% flat. W shield decreased from 9% max health to 8% max health. B tier. Urgot got nerf. Armor growth reduced from 5.45 to 5. Still in B tier. Jungle. Amumu got small buff. Base attack damage increased by 4, base armor increased by 3. D tier. Sejuani got buff. Passive resist increased from 10 plus 50% bonus to 10 plus 75% bonus. W damage adjusted from 30 scales to 200 plus 8% max health to 10 scales to 130 plus 12% max health. C tier. Belveth got nerf. Passive attack speed decreased from 0.28 scales to 1% from level 1 to 13 to 0.28 scales to 1% from level 1 to 17. Q damage decreased from 10 scales to 30 plus 110% total attack damage to 10 scales to 30 plus 100% total attack damage. Q monster modifier changed from 140% total damage to plus 45-85 flat damage. B tier. Evelynn got nerf. W slow decreased from 65% to 45%, R AP ratio decreased from 75% to 65%, C tier. Master Yi got nerf. E damage reduced by 10 at all levels, B tier. Olaf. He got nerfed, but it's kinda jungle buff. Q damage reduced by 5, Q monster modifier increased by 5 to 25. R passive resist decreased from 10 scales to 30 to 10 scales to 20. Still in D tier. Talia got nerf. Q mana cost increased by 10 at all levels. Q bonus monster damage AP ratio reduced from 10% to 5%. C tier. Mid lane. Karma got buff. Q slow increased from 35% to 40%. R plus E AoE shield increased from 90% to 100%. R plus E AoE bonus haste increased from 12% to 15%. C tier. Malzahar got buff. Q mana cost changed from 80 flat to 60 scales to 80. E cooldown decreased from 15 scales to 7 to 11 scales to 7. B tier. Ahri got nerf. W damage decreased by 5 at all levels. R cooldown increased from 130 scales to 80 to 130 scales to 100. B tier. Aurelion Sol got nerf. EAP ratio decreased from 100% to 80%. B tier. Kassadin got nerf. EAP ratio decreased from 80% to 70%. C tier. Talia. It's more of a jungle nerf. Q mana cost increased by 10. Q bonus monster damage AP ratio reduced from 10% to 5%. Still in B tier. Akshan got changed. Q move speed changed from 20 scales to 40% to 20% flat. Q non-champion damage decreased from 40 scales to 90% to 40 scales to 80%. Minimum R damage increased from 20 scales to 30 plus 10% total attack damage to 25 scales to 45 plus 15% total attack damage. Maximum R damage increased from 80 scales to 120 plus 40% total attack damage to 75 scales to 135 plus 45% total attack damage. B tier. Bot. Jinx got nerfed. R cooldown increased from 70 scales to 40 to 85 scales to 45. A tier. Twitch got nerfed. Health decreased from 682 plus 100 to 630 plus 104. R bonus attack damage reduced from 40 scales to 70 to 30 scales to 60. W slow AP ratio decreased from 6% to 5%. B tier. Nila got changed. Q active damage total attack damage reduced by 10% at max rank with 10% less critical strike chance. Q active attack speed increased from 10 scales to 50% by level to 10 scales to 60% by level. B tier. Support. Karma got buff. Q slow increased from 35% to 40%. R plus E AoE shield increased from 90% to 100%. R plus E AoE bonus haste increased from 12% to 15%. C tier. Seraphine got buff. Q AP ratio increased from 50% to 60%. B tier. Blitzcrank got nerf. Passive shield duration decreased from 10 seconds to 4 seconds. W move speed reduced from 70 scales to 90% to 60 scales to 80%. B tier. Pike got nerf. W mana cost increased from 50 to 65. W cooldown increased by 2, A tier. Jenna got changed. W damage changed from 55 scales to 195 plus 30% bonus move speed and 60% AP to 55 scales to 175 plus 30 bonus move speed and 50% AP. E-shield increased from 80 scales to 220 to 80 scales to 240. A tier. Feel free to share what you think about this patch in the comments down below, smash the like button, subscribe, and see you in the next video.